Hello and welcome to my third knitting podcast. To those who don't know me, my name is Sylvia and I'm the person behind Knitting for Rose. Today I have, I think it was three finished objects and 4 whips and just a bit different things. So let's get started. If we're starting with what I'm wearing the Love is Not a Crime sweater, and I have my computer over here, so that's why I'm looking in this direction. At times it's a free pattern I found on Hobbii's website, and it has these hearts in cables going down the sides of it, and I don't think this was the most optimal yarn to knit this in because the hearts are kind of flat. But when it was totally new it looked a lot better. But it was one of my first finished sweaters. I think it was my second actually. Yeah, it was my second knitted sweater, so it's alright. I knitted it in Hobbii's Diablo in the colorway 28. And yeah, I'll just link it down below, both the pattern but also my finished object, as I will do with all of those I am doing or have done. Okay, so if we're, this one is, the designer behind this is Caroline Edal in English, I think. So yeah, I like it a lot. It's quite oversized, but typically I'm not wearing that much oversized clothes, except in sweaters apparently. But I like it. It's not that warm in this yarn because I can just see here it's 70% synthetics and 30% mohair, so quite synthetic, which makes it like a great piece to wear when it shifts in seasons. But it's quite cold actually these days because it has gotten quite cold here in Spain. But yeah, let's get to the first finished object, which I have posted about on Instagram, TikTok, because I made such an account just to try it, and I can only find one. I have a basket here on my side with all of my finished knits and current whips. Okay, so this is the next thing, but where is the other? There it was. Okay, so my first finished object is the Nutmeg socks by Tania Barley, and it looks like this and this. And I love these. I seriously do. I love this color. I made one mistake knitting them though. Oh, 2. Because first I knitted them in too small a size. So I had to unravel the whole entire sock and start from the beginning. But then when I had blocked them, I saw I had repeated more of it over here, of the pattern. So this is a bit longer in the leg part than this one. And I'm so annoyed. But when you're wearing them, you can't really see. So it's only before you wear them, or if you hold them up to each other, you can see this doesn't match. But I like this length more. So today I'm going to update the notes on Ravelry for these socks, and I'm going to write how many repeats I did for this sock. Because right now I think I've written for this sock, because this was my intention. But somehow I managed to do one too many times over here. But yeah, so I like these. I knitted them in long yarn Superwash in the color Rustic Barn, which is number 95, and I think it's a perfect for autumn color or fall color. So yeah, I love these socks. I've been wearing them a lot, but yeah, I've gotten something for knitted socks. I also actually bought some of Stone Knit's patterns this week. But yeah, I'm very much into knitting socks currently. Not currently, this past half year. So, my second finished object. If you can guess what it is, I will not be amazed, because it's also socks. And this I didn't miss up on. It's the Polyjane socks by MJ Kim. I forgot to mention these in my last knitting podcast, because I had put them to be like, what it's called, hibernating on Ravelry. So they wasn't the bottom of my project page. But I finished them. And I love them. I worn them for the first time today, because it took me a couple of days to actually wash and block them. But today I wore them. So I took them off and put on regular socks to film this video. And yeah, they have this very lovely leaf motif going down the sock, and on the leg it's on both sides. So yeah, I like them a lot. I knitted them in Mayflower's first class Cashmere, which is a mixture of cashmere and merino and some nylon to make them last longer, because it's sock yarn. So yeah, I finished these as well. They're very soft. They're definitely softer than these ones, but I think, I know, these warm more, while these are softer. So, 2 pair of finished socks. So yeah, I'm very happy about those. And these socks had been hibernating because I didn't have the rest of the yarn I needed here in Spain. But I went home 2, nearly 3 weeks ago, because my dog Asti was to be put down. So I got the yarn when I was home. And I shared that in the last knitting podcast, where she was to be put down the Monday after I published the video. But yeah, I was very happy to be there with my family and get the chance to say goodbye. So yeah, I think it's a bit weird for me, if I'm just going to talk a bit about my personal life, a bit weird for me to be here in Spain while all of this has been going on, because I were literally only in Denmark, because if you didn't know or have seen any of my videos before, I'm Danish. I was only in Denmark with my family for under 24 hours before having to go back here to Spain to the family I'm an au pair for. So it was a very short visit, but I would truly have regretted not going home. But it's a bit weird for me being here afterwards, but also up to the days, because I'm quite distanced from the whole situation. So I think it's a different way to experience it for my family and I, because I'm not at home with my family in the home with the dog where she was, but I'll get home for Christmas and then I'll have to get used to not having her there. So yeah, a bit different. And I know I'm sharing a lot about me and my life right now, but I feel like I have to be authentic or myself on this channel. So I don't want to just share nothing and be kind of impersonal. It would be weird for me. So that's why I'm telling it. But yeah, let's get on to the next. I have, since the last video, also begun Christmas knitting or gift knitting for the season. I finished earlier this week. I think it was on Tuesday I finished it. Yeah, it was Tuesday. I knitted this hat, and I can talk about these gift knits I'm going to be talking about in this video because these people don't watch my videos, so that's good. I did this hat, if I can just quickly put it on. It's actually a men's pattern, and these kind of beanies, they don't suit me very well. So yeah, I'm quickly going to take off my glasses and be a bit blind. But yeah, I did this hat, beanie, which I'm going to take off because it looks hideous on me. Because these kind of hats don't suit me, I think. But yeah, I made this for my host dad in this family I'm an au pair for. If I'm just going to put these back on again. There we go. Now I can see. Oh, my hair's a bit messy. Maybe it was better when I didn't see. Okay, but I made this for my host dad for his Christmas present. And I made it in Drops Air. Yeah, Drops Air in the color black. And it was the color code number 6. So number 6, black. And it took me a week to make. And it's purely ripping, 1 by 1 rip. And for those who don't know me in like real life, or I haven't been talking a lot about knitting with, I hate 1 times 1 ribbing. I hate it. I don't enjoy doing it at all. I know there can be like some where you just go in autopilot after a while, but it doesn't bring me joy. I hate it, and I didn't think about it before after having bought the yarn. So now I have made this, and I know for sure if it wasn't 1 by 1 ribbing, making a hat like this wouldn't have taken me a week. But also, like, when it comes to gift knitting, I think 1 by 1 rib is a good idea because it's a lot more forgiving when it comes to sizing. And I did use bigger needles than recommended. It's a pattern by Drops Design, and it recommended using 3.5 millimeter needles, or if I can just go to the pattern page, or US 4. I can't remember that by heart. But I used 4 millimeter needles, which is back again, which is US 6. Perfect. Now I know that. Because I'm a very tight knitter. So I wanted to make sure it was actually a size that could fit a man, and it wouldn't be too tight by my tight knitting. But I still think my gauge is a bit too small. I don't know, because it fits me quite nice, but I did make the largest size they had in this pattern, which should suit, if I go back again, it should be able to suit a 58 to 60 centimeter head in circumference, and I have a head, I think it's 55 in circumference if I remember correctly, and this fits me nearly perfectly. so I think it's a bit too small. But I did opt for the larger size and a larger needles to hopefully get a larger size. But luckily, this man, he doesn't have the biggest head I've seen on a man. He has a quite normal head, so I think it's fine. I hope so. Or else, it's ribbing. It can stretch. So, yeah. I made this hat for gifting it. Because I wanted to give my host family something, because I feel quite weird not giving them anything. Especially because I live in their house. So, yeah, I wanted to give them something, but I didn't know what to buy, so I chose to make the gift myself, which is a wonderful thing to be able to do when you knit. Okay, on to my whips. I have 4 whips currently, which is quite a lot, I think. I don't like having that many. That is also why 2 of them have been moved to the hibernation on Ravelry, because I literally don't knit on them at the moment. The first one is the Chrysler top, which I also talked about in the last video, if I can just find it. And I haven't made a single stitch since then. So yeah, it's a Chrysler top by Pernille Larsen, aka Knitting for Olive. And I'm knitting it in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color navy blue, which is going to be a very lovely summer top, and I like it a lot. I just haven't really made anything on it, but it's also because it's also 1x1 ribbing, which, as you heard before, I hate. But I want this top, so I'm going to make it. But I just have 0 what it's called. I don't want to make it right now. I have 0, what is it? I can't even remember it in Danish. I'm completely lost. Motivation, that was the word. I have 0 motivation for doing this right now, because it's a summer top, it's cold, so I can't wear it for months. So I think I'll pick it up again after Christmas. Or when spring is nearer. Okay, so the next thing I am to talk about. I started knitting it after, I think, the last knitting podcast, because I talked about wanting to cast on the marble sweater, which, spoiler alert, I haven't. So instead, I cast it on something else, because I can't stick to a plan, apparently. I cast it on because I had bought a few weeks, maybe, before, I don't remember, but I had bought the Raunioiset, I can't say this word, it's on the bottom of the screen, neck warmer by Suvi. I can't pronounce the last name either. Lyytikäinen? I don't know. But it's a neck warmer. And I have made it to the finish point of like the pattern, but I want to do some alterations because I want it to be a bit longer, because it's oh, that's valuable. And it has these like cornrows, which I'm absolutely in love with. But yeah, and it's a terribly long neck, and it was also 1x1 ribbing. So I don't know how I have somehow come into only making that, because I hate it, but I'm doing it. I wanted a neck warmer because all of my jackets that isn't my winter coat, which is in Denmark, so I'm going to freeze, has a V-shape neck, V-neck, and some of them rather deep one. So I'm going to be freezing because a lot of my tops also have a V-neck or a low cut. So I wanted something to put on so I wouldn't be freezing in the winter when it's cold. But when putting this on, it isn't long enough in itself. So I want to split it at the shoulders and begin knitting it down, flatten it, to make it a bit longer. So just like you do for a sweater, but I would stop before having to assemble it at the bottom of the armhole. So that's the biggest difference. But I'm knitting it in the same yarn I used for the mom sock sweater, and that's why I started this, because I want to get rid of the scrap yarn. It isn't really scrap, it's just left over. I don't like having too much yarn lying around, especially because I know I have to take it back home with me to Denmark again. So it's just easier to have finished objects. So I started making this, but I don't use the mohair I used for the sweater, because for the mom sock sweater I noticed while knitting that the mohair felted a lot. So I had white hairs everywhere, on my clothes, on my bed, everywhere. So I wasn't entirely sure how that yarn was going to react after having been blocked and washed. Now it doesn't felt at all, not that I have noticed, but I wanted to be sure not having white hairs all over my shirts, especially when this is purposely put on top of other clothes. So that's why I'm only using these two. But yeah, I could have used the mohair, but this is fine. So that was my second whip, which is also hyphenating currently. Okay, so the only two patterns I'm actually making currently, but this is hibernating because I'm using the needles. This one I've just talked about is hibernating currently because I had to take the needles from this knit to make the Moorland hat for my host dad, because I used it 4mm needles on that and I had to use it for this. But now those 4mm needles are in a different project, which is the Winter Smiles hat, which I'm knitting for my host mom in this very, very pale pink. And it is Drops Air in pink sand, color coded 33. I have something in my throat. Oui. And it's also, you guessed it, one ribbing. Oh, I have something that tickles. Oh, not very nice. So, once again, I'm making something in ribbing. I need water. 1 minute. Okay, I got my water. Oh, that was good. But, as I was saying, this is also 1x1 ribbing. And it's also in Drops Air. And the pattern was by Drops Design, so very much drops. But it's a free pattern, it was cheap yarn, so better on my economy. Yeah. So it's very, very soft and I like it, I think. I don't want anything like this for myself. I like wool, which I know is sourced better for myself. But then again, I can't really find any of my usual yarn brands here in Madrid. So I found Drops. why not? That is actually quite annoying, that I have a lot of different yarn brands I like using, mainly knitting for Olive, to be fair, but I can't find any of them here in Madrid. There is a store that just sells drops and a few other, but mainly just drops yarn. And there is some other yarn stores as well that I like a lot, but none of them really have the yarn brands I usually knit with. So it's a bit difficult, because a lot of the stores have a lot of acrylics and I don't like acrylics, which is a personal preference, I think. But yeah, having knitted this hat and now knitting this hat, I also opted for a bit of bigger needles for this one. And the biggest size again, which in this pattern is large/extra large. And having knitted this and now this, I can see, even though it's two different patterns, it's exactly the same. Because for the amount of stitches I had casted on for this and the centimeter wise, it's the same. So they literally could just have made one pattern, but they opted for two, even though I'm doing exactly the same, which is a bit boring, to be fair. But I'm motivated, not by the ribbing, but to get this done, because it's a gift knit. So I have to get it done. Because after finishing this, I'm planning on finally casting on the marble sweater by Petit Knit. Okay, but the last whip is another sock. It's the Thrift Bloom Sock by Schuette. I don't know. But I'm knitting it in Long Yarns Superwash Olive, which is color coded 98. And there is the yarn. Can I find the start of a sock? There it is. This one. This tiny little one. So, where's the front? The front is there. So I've only made it this far. So not that far. And you can see like the starting of the pattern. Can I get it to focus? No. It wants to focus on me, which, can I do like this? No, it just doesn't want to focus on anything but me. Okay, so these are going to be green socks. And I bought this yarn because I want to make some Christmas socks. But yeah, I wanted to use some other yarn before, also Long Yarn Superwash in burgundy red, but I didn't have the necessary needle. Or did I? I don't think so. Now I'm confused. Did I have? No, there was a reason why I ended up starting with this before. I don't think I had the correct needle size. Oh, no, I didn't. I needed a 3mm needle and I wanted to use these 9-inch needle as well. So I had to buy one. And I have bought one, but I forgot to bring it up, which was an acquisition actually. But yeah, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's very weird. I have to stop. Last knitting podcast, I said like this, like Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast with 2 yarn skeins I had bought. So I'm not going to sit with yarn on my hands or fingers in this video as well. But yeah, that was all of my current whips and finished objects. I am also crocheting some Christmas gifts at the moment, but since those are crochet, I don't really know if I should include them in my knitting podcast. So I don't know, if you want to hear about them, do comment it, write it down below in the comments. And I can include them in my next knitting podcast. I'm crocheting horses for the kids I'm on au pair for. Horses that resemble their own horses, because both of them have their own horse. So I'm crocheting plushies that looks like them. Because I did search for a knitted horse plushie, but I couldn't really find any that really was in my taste. I found some that was really cute, but those were really small, and I wanted a bigger one. So I'm crocheting, which has been a while, but why not? As for acquisitions, I bought this yarn. I don't think I have it in when I did the last knitting podcast, but honestly I can't remember. And then I know I didn't have the 3mm needle, so I don't think I had this either, because I bought that at the same time. So yeah. Or did I? No, I don't think so. I think I had it when I talked about the Christmas knitting patterns. But yeah, that was my little things for this video. So I hope to see you again in the future. So if you want to see more of my videos in the future, or just see any of them, you can just subscribe and like this video, so I know that if it's something you enjoyed watching. I know it was a bit chaotic, and I apologize for that. But yeah, it was fun for me. Hope you enjoyed just listening, maybe knitting. If you knitted something while watching this, please do write it in the comments as well. I really want to know. I'm a bit nosy like that. And have a good day, good evening, whatever time of day you're watching this. Bye.